For me, I would say most definitely 50% of my time is saved because of Big Wave. So I'm a project manager here at RetailTech, and I manage about a half dozen different accounts and customers. So I leverage Big Wave a lot to help manage and, organize these projects because my hands are in a little bit of everything. The problem I had is the continuous ask from people. What is the status of this? Or where is this one currently sitting on the bench? Do you have the document sign off from the customer? Like all that would used to come in phone calls and emails, and it's constant fire drills of wasted time. It's not wasted time answering the question, but it's like this tool captures all of that. So go find it. It's out there for you to get instead of calling and emailing and all of that stuff. So just get rid of all that. We get enough of it in a day to help leverage those answers by putting it in this tool. So and also document sharing, right? Like we all work off of or need to work off of similar schedules, installation documentation, and certain people and parties are responsible for updating this throughout the course of the project. So in that scenario, you're never sure if you're working off the latest copy, right? You don't know if that's been updated 10 times before you've received it. But when you have it live and active in a platform, you're always pulling down the latest saved information in the tool. So there's no question as to what version you got and you're working off this version. It's going to be active and it's going to be live with the latest in Big Wave. So going back and forth and emailing documentation and spreadsheets and schedules is gone because of this tool.
And why was it important to overcome these challenges?
There's risk there, right? Did I get the latest schedule update? Did I send a tech to the wrong store? Does the tech have all the information he needs when he gets there? Well, you would know that, right, by looking in Big Wave to see if the schedule has changed. You'd get a notification. You'd see what tech is assigned. The tech can go in there and download the install doc if you forgot to print it before he left. So it eliminates those risks associated with depending on someone to email you or call you with updates. Our first expectation was schedule management. We run our business a lot with milestones, right? So understanding the different phases of a project, whether it be data capturing or surveys, and follow that by order entries, follow that by staging and configuration, followed that by shipping, followed by installation or on-site delivery and install. Those are considered our T- schedule, which has, tremendously helped in Big Wave offering that functionality to say, okay, here's your milestones, and within each of these milestones, what is the expected duration? And that helps to automatically calculate the dates for you versus us putting dates to certain tasks. The tool allows you to just define those criteria up front based on your milestones. It recalculates that schedule based on your date of whatever that needs to be, whether it's an on-site date, delivery date. Everything recalculates off that, I call it that master date, right? And everything works backwards based on the T- schedule for all of your milestones. So everybody knows when everything needs to happen to keep on track. The most value is probably just the project milestone. Like I mentioned before, it's very helpful to see where each site currently resides. We have a huge rollout we're doing with a customer that deploys iPads. And with that, there's probably 15 steps involved in just getting that order out the door, right? So there's a lot of players involved, and everybody for that project knows what responsibilities they have within Big Wave, as far as updating, changing statuses. So nobody's poking in other people's parts of the project, right? Everybody manages their own piece within Big Wave itself, but that's what's great. It's like, it's taking time off my plate to have to constantly ask shipping or config where they, currently stand on this order. They're in there updating it real time. So I'm not having to chase people down and ask those questions. So for us, I think prioritizing The milestone statuses has been extremely helpful, as well as also the T-minus schedule functionality built into the tool with the schedule and assign section. And the availability of making it user friendly, right? We don't want the customer to see everything, right? So we have flags in there to take permissions off of their views so that we can still maintain it, right? And keep stuff internal or confidential to the customer. And likewise, if there's certain documentation that vendors or partners we have within Big Wave we don't want to show, we can simply flag those accordingly as well. So it doesn't prevent us from any hesitation in the tool, putting stuff out there because of the permissions that are built around it. So we feel comfortable putting documents out there, knowing the permissions are set appropriately, so we're not oversharing stuff that shouldn't be. For me, I would say most definitely 50% of my time is saved because of Big Wave. It eliminates managing multiple things in multiple places. Everything's that I need is housed in one platform, which is the beauty of that tool, right? Like you have projects, I like to think of it as like file folders, right? Like you have your file folders, and within those file folders are your site specific details, and everything in there, documentation, comments, issues, schedules, on-site tech information, contact information. It's like you open that file folder and everything you need is organized there for you. You're not searching in Outlook for a specific email or an issue that came over. It's documented, it's time stamped, name stamps who put the comment. All that is tracked and easily accessible and always lives within that project. And it's organized in a way that we define how we want to see it, right? We create the custom fields, the groups, the alerts, the status types, the milestones. It's all like user friendly. It's all customizable to our needs and not something we're trying to force ourselves into fitting, if that makes sense, right? So we build it out how we want to run our project, and Big Wave accommodates it. And not everyone's set up the same, which is another beautiful thing about it, right? You can create them differently if you want. So that's what I find most helpful in getting out of Microsoft Outlook and Excel all the time. And it's just using this tool to leverage scheduling, reporting, and things like that. So I find that at least, and that's probably low 50%, but for me, I'd say at least 50% of my day is saved having to hunt certain things down and just referring to Big Wave instead. John and I have a great working relationship. I think we go way back from my previous company. I'm new to RTI 4 years in, but previously John and I worked utilizing and bringing Big Wave. Kind of was new to our environment at the time, but I was kind of on that front line with him. As far as, testing the platform, providing feedback, and trying to work it into one of my projects to see how it would work for the overall company. There's been a lot of positive feedback, and when I share the tutorials with folks or my peers, a lot of them, obviously follow in my footsteps and use it for their projects because of the flexibility it offers. Clients like it, and obviously everybody has their own tools that they use, and it's hard to convince some people sometimes that go away from using Smartsheet or Excel and look at utilizing a tool like Big Wave. And people don't like or accept change that easily sometimes, but when you get it in front of them and show them the features, it does get received well. So I think John and I, he's always very helpful. If I have something I need that I don't see in Big Wave, I mean, he jumps right on it. Like he puts a test thing out there, has me try it and see if it meets my needs. And it usually ends up being in their next release, which is really awesome and very nice and accommodating to have that relationship, to be able to not just be a ticket number and to be able to talk to John and say, hey, this is what we're trying to accomplish. And he helps always. So I feel like I should be a commercial for Big. I just love it so much. Like it really, and I think part of it is because of John, to be quite honest. Like he's just been so he cares, right? He cares about our feedback. He cares about making it better, and he values our opinions and will 100% do what, you know, he can do to help feed that need that's maybe not there right now. And if he can't, he's upfront about it and offers a solution or a workaround. So I can't say enough great things about it. I just think it's so user friendly. It's not overwhelming. You go on there and it's set up pretty much the same for, you know, all the tabs, and all the clicks are minimal. So it's not like, oh gosh, I've got 10 steps for every one, right? It flows very well. I just can't say enough great things about it. I just have really, and you know, I think people or peers at my company have seen that, how well it works for my projects, and they adapt to it. And you know, I'm trying to bring on board as many people as we can to just kind of get them in front of the tool and just understand that it may be, you know, hard to get it set up. It's not even hard, I shouldn't say that, but it just takes time, right, to get it set up how you want it. And once you get it there, it saves all that legwork from the front end in the back. So I'm a big Wave fan, have always been. So I just can't say enough good things about it. And I think a lot of that comes from John and our relationship.